Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Brian Kafferke and I am a Data and AI Solutions Enabler. And this is going to be a fun video to do because it brings together two other videos I did. In one, just 2 videos ago, I showed you how to create an Azure SQL database. And that was great. One of the things you have to do when you create a SQL database, which is a PaaS offering, it's completely software, platform as a service, when you can get a SQL Server database in Azure. One of the things you have to do though is give it a administrator ID and password for that database. Now obviously that's very sensitive information, so I showed you in the next video after that how to create an Azure Key Vault in which you would save those credentials, especially the password, so nobody can ever find out what that password is, and you can maintain changing the password within the Key Vault without affecting anything that's using that secret. Now this video is really what inspired the other two, and I needed to provide that because I knew people might have questions. How do I create a database? How do I create a key vault? So with those behind us, now I can talk about how do I make use of Azure Key Vault with my Databricks notebooks. So let's step through a couple of pieces again before I show you that riveting information. All right, I am now on my Azure Portal. And let me just bring this up a little bit. It's a little bit small. If you go to dashboard or home, I usually like to pin things to my dashboard. It makes it a little bit easier. First thing I want to show you is I have my Azure database. Now I will need this information later. Notice the server name. I'm going to need this piece right here. That's going to be used to connect to the database. And I also have a user ID and password, which I'm not going to show you because I'm going to make that secret. But you got all this kind of cool stuff here, and you can see if I look into this, there is a feature called the query editor, and actually you can see here whatever I fill in here and I could query the database, but I'm going to do it instead through a Databricks notebook. Let me go back to my dashboard. As I mentioned, we'll be using Azure Key Vault. This is the name of my Azure Key Vault. You can see like what the name is, etc. But let me go to properties. We're going to need two things from this when we create the connection between Azure Databricks and Key Vault. Now, the thing to bear in mind when we do this is Databricks is a separate company from Microsoft. They were around, the two of the founders of Databricks wrote Spark. And so not surprisingly, if you're not aware, Databricks is in fact a user environment wrapped around Spark. All right. Spark is a big data and analytics platform. It's open source. Databricks though is commercial. They do sell that service, but underneath the covers it's using Spark services. What that means is, one, it was written to run on Linux, so it's not native to Windows, and that means that we'll see we use JDBC. The other thing though is there is no native integration when we want to do secrets in Databricks to specifically Azure. Some things are really nicely integrated. This requires one additional step. Databricks provides a service called basically cloud-based secrets, and it depends where you're running and how it implements that. So when you're running Azure Databricks, it integrates with Azure Key Vault so you can securely store your credentials. It's not the only way it can work, but in Azure it's the best way to do that. So let me go here for a minute, and what I need to do, I've got my Databricks workspace and I've got Key Vault. These are two different worlds. They don't really know about each other. What I need to do is tell my Azure Databricks workspace about Key Vault so it can call it and make a connection there. Now when you do that, you need to go to a link, and it's easiest really to do this right within your notebook. I will make this notebook available. I'll put a link at the end to my GitHub account, but I'm going to go to the region, so it's your region, then .azuredatabricks.net /secrets/create scope. This is actually working within my Databricks workspace. So East US is where I have my Databricks workspace. If yours is in West US, you would use this. Whatever region you're in, that's the first part of that URL, and you go into that, log into your account. It will in most cases it will prompt you for what user ID and password you want to use. Now, one thing I will make a note of, if you're using like an MSN account like I was, or Hotmail, or even Outlook, it may give you trouble. I had problems having it work. It would not recognize that account. It did work about a month ago. It's not working now. So I created this in my Office 365 account. I have an on Microsoft.com account. You can see it in the upper right hand corner, bkafiki, blah, 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 on Microsoft.com. Don't send me mail there. I don't usually use my Outlook account there. But that allowed me through that account to create this and make it all work. So if you want to do this and you're not working for a corporation that has its own domain, this is a way you can still get that. Microsoft Azure doesn't really like to work with an offshoot third party, even their own MSN or Outlook, because they really want to work with a corporation and have the Active Directory all integrated. So it poses some potential risks if you just allow Google.com and anything to get in. So it works in most cases, but then you can get into issues like this. Anyway, so let me follow this link. And notice I'm still in the Databricks portal, but now it's prompting me for a scope name, and it wants to get this here. So let me talk about scope name. I'm going to go back here. I already set up what I want to call this in my notebook. I want to call the scope AW Key Vault Secrets, just whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to go back to this link, and I just paste that there. Now, as you saw in my notebook, I'm going to need to refer back to that name, so make sure you remember what it is, write it down, whatever. It's not in and itself a big deal. You just got to know what it is. And here I'm going to say all users. So I'm going to change this so that anybody within that workspace can use it. And here I'm going to say, okay, now I need to give it the Key Vault information needed for Databricks to connect to my Key Vault. So here I need the DNS name and the resource ID. So if I go back here into properties, the DNS name is right here. So I'm going to go into, so go to your Key Vault, go to properties, and then I can just paste that here. And then I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go to resource ID and paste that here. Then click create. I've done this several times, just making sure things work, so I'm not going to keep saving it, but that's what you do. You say create. Once it'll come back a little message saying it's done. You're good to go. Once you're done, I'm just going to push this and go back to my notebook. And now I'm going to walk through using it. So the first thing I'm going to do, I like Python. You can use a lot of these things in Scala or other things. I'm finding Python is really what I think is probably the best language most of the time to use in Databricks, but people may disagree. So here it is, Python. It is Python Notebook. I always put the magic command. So I'm using Python, and I'm going to be calling utility. Now this utility is pretty much the same call regardless of what language you use. dbutils.secrets.get. That will call the Databricks service to get secrets, and since I've linked it with a scope name, it will automatically connect me now to the Key Vault service within Azure. And now I'm going to ask it for a user ID, and I'm going to store that in a variable user ID. I want to get another variable, db password, and again I'm calling the Databricks service, the utility, to get out of Key Vault a secret called password. And just to be clear what those are, in my Key Vault, under secrets, I have something called db user ID and password. So if I go back here, db user ID, password, that's where those are going. That's the name of the secrets. When I created them, I put it in there, and it's all dots. You can't see what's there. You can never see what's in the secrets. If I run this, notice I'm trying to print the user ID and password right here. But what did it do? It says redacted. This service understands that what I just did was get a secret, and it will not show me the value. I can use it, I can pass it, as you'll see, into things like connecting to a database, but I can't see the values, and that's really crucial here. Now I'm going to create some variables. As I mentioned, when I want to connect to a database, I need to use JDBC, the Java Database Connectivity, not ODBC. This is more of a Linux world, and Databricks is actually written, as I mentioned, on Spark, which is written in Scala, which is written in Java. So hence JDBC. I need to pass into it the URL necessary to get to my SQL server. So I'm going to go over here. I go to my dashboard, go here, and you can see this is what I'm using right here. Just do a copy here, and I'm connecting to that as my host name. The database is called AW. When I created the database, an option is to get a sample database, which is a set of tables from the training data set called AdventureWorks. So I'm using that, and then I give it the port number. So I run this, I'm just hitting Shift Enter to run. Next thing I'm going to do, I just need to create, I like to create variables before I actually use it, and honestly, I probably copied this sample code from Databricks documentation, but now I'm going to get the JDBC URL, so I'm just pulling in the things I created above here, the host name, the port number, and the database name. Then I'm going to create some connection properties, my user ID, the password, and of course the driver, which is a SQL Server driver. Now, JDBC is not ODBC, which means you can't use just any ODBC. You can assume that if you know there's an ODBC connector to a data source, that you can have one for JDBC. It all depends, but of course, Microsoft does have one for SQL Server. So here we go. That would be the same for Azure SQL DB, but also managed instance. It is not the same one, I don't believe, for Azure Data Warehouse. It's really multiple parallel processing. All right. Now I'm going to actually use it. After all this, let's get to where the rubber hits the road. I'm going to use spark.read JDBC. That's one way in which I can submit a query to my database. I'm giving it the URL, and notice I'm also passing those connection properties, which is where the credentials came in. And I'm just going to retrieve a table. So really simple. I'm returning it to this PySpark, I should say, data frame. I like to prefix my data frames with something that tells me where the data frame came from, because they're not compatible. So if I had an R data frame, it cannot read a Python data frame, and a PySpark data frame cannot be read by Scala. They all have their slight differences, etc., which means it's a good idea to know what they are. So I use SPDF to be a Spark data frame, a Spark Python data frame. You could say PS, Python Spark, or PySpark. Anyway, it's something I do. And then what I'm going to do is just display it. I could have just directly displayed the entire statement, but I wanted to show you a little of that as well. You can see what it's retrieving, and you can see all what it's retrieving. That's the gist there. Now, what if I wanted to send an entire query through? You can put a query into a multi-line variable like this. The key to doing this in Python, of course, is using these 3 single quotes on each end, and that will actually preserve that string exactly as you enter it. A couple of things to be careful of. You need parentheses. I've tried doing this without. I don't like it. Around your query, and then you have to give it this tag afterwards, this sort of short name. What I'm doing here is creating a query that I want to put to the database. The database source, like SQL Server, is very efficient at giving you an answer to a query. It is a really poor practice, not a best practice, to pull everything into any environment, transmitting it over the network and loading a lot of data that you don't need and then trying to sort it out there. It's a really bad idea. It's definitely a big issue if you use Power BI. You want to always push things back to the source if you're going to be doing something like that. Make sure you're only working with what you need. And in this case, it's really critical because you're running on multiple machines called nodes, and you want to only bring back what you need so it runs faster. So by doing what I'm doing, I'm aggregating. I'm getting a count by salesperson, how many customers by salesperson. So by doing this, let me run it, then I'm just going to display it. And it gives me the answer. I'm pushing all the work for this down to the SQL Server and getting the answer back. It's really important to do that if you're filtering. In this case, I'm not filtering, but aggregating as well. Otherwise, I could be retrieving a billion rows, and maybe there's only 20 salespeople. Why not let the work be done on the source and just give me back those 20 rows back that I need? In filtering, I may have 10 years of sales data. I don't want to bring it all back to the nodes and then say, oh yeah, I only need 1 year of this. So there's a sideline, but you can see this all worked. So let me summarize what we've talked about here. We started by talking about the need to securely access some resource. In this case, a SQL Server, but it could just as easily have been blob storage or Azure Data Lake Gen 2, in which in those cases, you wouldn't use a password per se, but you have an access key or something like that, or maybe a principal ID, service principal. And in those cases, we created an Azure Key Vault, and we stored the credentials into secrets. And now we can come into Databricks and access it. But before we can access it, we need to go to a link appropriate to this and access it that way. So go to the link and tell it the name you want to call it in Databricks, as well as the information in there. And we saw this. You got to paste in the DNS name and the resource ID, and we were able to get that from the properties of the Key Vault. And that's all there really is to that. You got that done, you're good to go. You have a really secure way of doing things. Good thing to have for interviews. If you're going to interview, you want to talk about things like that, because companies don't want to hear you saying paste passwords into clear text. Not going to get you a job. Thank you. I hope this was helpful. Please share, like, trade with your friends, and until next time.